Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cruz Report. This is episode 2. I promised you I was going to introduce you to the whitest Mexican everybody knows with Mr.
What up, guys? How
Aaron
y'all doing?
Miguel Angel Herrera. I don't know if that's your real name or not, but
It's close. It's close.
so Aaron and me, very good friends. I wanted to give you guys an in-depth analysis of kind of our team and who we are. So we're going to cover a little bit of Aaron today and kind of how his journey started, both before us all the way to 18, and then we'll kind of cover how we met and then how eventually I led you to having sex with somebody. So
That's definitely wrong.
give me the synopsis a little bit of you growing up all the way to kind of right when we met.
So I'm from a small town in Texas, born and raised. I was actually a country boy. I didn't wear many shorts unless it was during baseball or basketball
So
or
crazy.
practice, running track. I was always in boots and pants. I worked on the ranch, raised some animals. So this line of work, the things that we do now is honestly a completely different. Honestly, my dad calls me an AC princess because I used to have to work out in the sun all day, and now I get to work in the AC.
This is
watching
not a
TV.
shot at you, but like I can't see you on a ranch,
Bro, I'm
dude.
telling you, bro. I own like, I got a lot of pairs of shoes, sandals, all that stuff. I own like 10, 15 pairs of boots at one time.
I can't see it, man.
Different pairs of pants, tucking them in, run. The only thing I never really did was that I never wore cowboy hats. I was always, even now I have like 100 hats. So.
Oh yeah, you definitely
Yeah.
are a hat guy.
So before then, until I was 18, I can consider myself someone that likes to take risks, but thought out risks.
Okay, a
You
little
know,
more calculated.
More calculated risks, and sometimes they can be a little more. And we'll find out here that some of the risks that I've taken are definitely not normal. Until I was 18, I didn't have much. Whenever I was in middle school, moved into my first official house with my mom and dad. And then after that, graduated pretty much. But as soon as I graduated, I went to college for a semester, but then I moved away from home.
Right
Just
away.
Didn't really have a plan, but I did it. Thought it was right, and I did it, and I've never looked back. Yeah, I've never had any thoughts about going back, even through some tough times, even through some weird times. That definitely gone through my moments of missing family a lot.
For sure.
But I traveled my very first vacation when I was 18 with a friend of mine's family, and ever since then, we went to Vegas, actually.
I remember you telling me that.
We went to Vegas, and most people think, oh, you went to Vegas at 18. What the hell are you gonna? There's so much to do in Vegas, but after that, I really had that mindset of the world is such a big place, and there's more to it than just a little town that I grew up in. You make fun of me all the time, but I grew up. The graduating class that I had 23 kids in it. It was one of the biggest graduating classes in my school history.
I sucked at school, but I would have been top 20. I guarantee it.
We had some smart kids. I like to say top 5, even though it was 5 of 23. But
Listen. Top 5 is top 5. I'm not going to take it away from
technically
you.
I was number 5 out of 23, but I stick at top 5. But
So, to give you guys a little bit of history, me and Aaron, we were actually admins in another sports room when we first started, and we were working with another gentleman. I won't say his name. Very weird.
I definitely remember.
Very weird guy.
Him and his cat.
And I had an opportunity. I kind of reached out to a few people. I kind of got the feeling that I wanted to do memorabilia, long term and make that into something. And believe it or not, and I've told you this before, but a lot of people won't know this. I kind of got booted out of this room. I kind of had to start my own thing from scratch. And Aaron was the very first person that ever came with me. He was my admin for whatever reason, and maybe but he believed in me. He knew that we were going to go to special places, and so right away, you became my first admin. What was it that made you take that leap? We'd never met each other. We only know each other on Facebook.
I think we talked once, and that was about the whole situation of that old Facebook group that we had. And there was always something that I didn't really like about him.
Yeah. Other than the fact that you guys had to have sex, was it?
No.
So Aaron follows me to my first room, right? We kind of get close a little bit, and you had some ebbs and flows there in your life. I know that I don't want to dive too deep into the we don't want to get Tam mad at you, but there were some girl things going on, some things that kind of had you moving around a little bit. I know you had about 17 different addresses we shipped to in Texas.
I definitely like to, like I said, now that I think about it, they weren't exactly calculated risk, but
Yeah.
I definitely moved. I lived in San Antonio in like 4 different spots. I moved to Dallas. I moved back to San Antonio. We know I never moved back home, even though my parents are like, "Well, why didn't you just move back home?"
You
know?
just had to get
I
out of the
just,
ranch,
I
man.
liked, I don't like the city, but I liked to have been able to do anything and everything that I really wanted to do. You know,
Oh, 100%, 100%.
I mean, and that aspect of it in that time frame, one of my main things was actually a lot of alcohol. So
I don't, like I said, I don't want to open up too much. I know these things, but so basically, I gave you a shot. You remember this? He wasn't really ready yet, but I sent you helmets. I was kind of like, you're going to be a breaker, and it kind of didn't work at that time. And
I mean, at the time, I mean, no shots at you or anything, but I wasn't exactly set up for success. But at the time, I really, honestly, didn't take full advantage of that situation.
For sure.
I had other things on my mind, and you had your things, and it was different. I mean, you were in Wisconsin at one point, then
100%.
Georgia, and I was just going out having fun, making money, spending money.
For
like,
sure.
it was-
Being young,
Yeah.
man. Laying that pee around everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
No offense, Tam.
sorry,
So,
no, sorry, Mom.
Aaron still stays an admin with me. You're still an admin, but you're not breaking. You kind of run all of our videos. You're doing a lot. You're in the lives, like you're in tune with all of it, right? And I moved to Georgia. The business was better for us here. Had a lot of good relationships with Radke. Radke was here. To me, it just made the most sense. So I'm here maybe a year, 2 years, and then Aaron, I finally get him to come visit.
Came for was it the Super Bowl?
You came for the Super Bowl.
Man,
you were supposed to leave.
Well, we had. Well, were we playing poker that
we
night?
played poker.
Oh man, I don't even know if I won or lost.
Aaron does not have a cheap palate. That man drank the most expensive liquor that I had in my closet. Fell asleep in my hot tub.
Hey, look, all that matters is I fell asleep in the hot tub. I got out and I changed my clothes.
You did?
Went to bed in a clean bed.
We did. And then we go to Taco Mac, and as we're getting ready to go get you on your airplane, you're still throwing up in the bathroom.
Yeah, and I remember you guys asked me, they're like, "Hey, Aaron, what time does your flight leave?" I'm like, "It's at 1 o'clock." And they're like, "Dude, it's 12." I mean, I didn't know Atlanta or this area much, but
We were
I
not
don't know.
getting there in
You were
time.
never making it from Beaufort or Flowery Branch to Atlanta in an hour and through TSA.
So we start the drive. He's still sick, and we determine, okay, he's not going to make it. So I'm thinking he may stay for a few more days. Aaron's with me for a month, like 3 weeks.
That was my first trip. I left that night.
The second trip
The
you
second
came.
trip is because I was running a series and it didn't go well.
Yeah, and so you end up staying for like a month. We hang out. Truest of true stories. I've never gotten in more trouble with Wendy.
Oh man.
She comes downstairs and she's like, "What the fuck did you do?" And I don't know, and I don't want to self-incriminate. I mean, I know I did a lot of shit, and she flaps this bill down on the table. And I wanted to take care of my boy, right? I wanted you to eat good.
Look. I mean,
Dawson was there.
It's Daria.
Yeah.
Dawson
So there were
eats a
other
lot.
people.
Dawson eats a lot too.
But I spent $7,200 on Grubhub that month for me and
there
you.
was a few days where Brett was with us. Look, it wasn't just me and
$7,200
you.
on Grubhub. So we bonded, man. We developed a really good relationship, and I realized at that moment that Aaron needed another shot at like breaking. Like it wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right place. So you go back to Texas, we hook you up with another series. You start breaking from there, and this whole time, Wendy's got a single girl that's back home in Wisconsin that was going through nursing school. Was like, man, I think they would be cool together. So I'm hitting up Aaron, dude. Are you gonna hit her up?
But you know how long it took me to actually? I think I looked it up the other day because I was just curious. But it took me about 6 or 7 months to actually message her.
Bro, and I'm like, message this chick, man. She got beautiful eyes. She's a beautiful girl.
Most
She
gorgeous
works
eyes I've
hard.
ever seen in my life.
She does have gorgeous eyes. I'll give you that. But anyway, so then we get the plan. We're like, you know what? We're gonna get them there on a weekend together. So I have Aaron. We go to a golf trip. We come back from Myrtle Beach. I go get my man cut up. My man's fresh,
We talked
faded
a little
in.
bit before the golf trip.
Yeah, you guys were kind of
It
chatting
was
a
like,
little
honestly,
bit.
we only talked for like 2-3 months before the golf trip, and then the golf trip happened, and then after that,
Yeah, he comes down. They hit it off a little bit. They make the best use of my spare room that they possibly can. She throws up everywhere.
we talked a lot.
Yeah, and then they leave. So Aaron goes back home, and now kind of like he's got this idea, man. I really may move to Georgia. Like, and I'm like, no fucking way. That for me, Like, I've moved here fresh. I don't know a ton of people.
Bro, those apartment complexes right outside where your Target's at.
Yeah.
And that little, holy shit, I was going to live in there, but they're expensive.
They
as hell.
are. They are. So what does he
Yeah.
do? Mr. Calculated Risk. He goes, Tam, who they hung out, you know, they kind of had a connection. I don't even know if you were sure if you were dating or what at the
I
time.
mean, we were kind of dating, but it was one of those things where she's, good Lord, she's the nicest person you could ever meet. But
She is.
She, one day, I mean, I know it took a lot of courage for her to say it, but she was like, I am going to have a downstairs. We can fix that up. You can stay in the downstairs. And I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, girl, I'm still in my prime.
Yeah.
No way I'm staying downstairs.
So he literally packs up. She buys a house here. He literally moves here
My boy Parker helped me move
from
too.
Texas. And that night, like, as they're unpacking shit at this house together, I'm like, dude, do you sleep in the bed with her? Or do you stay in the
Dude, it
spare
was the first
bedroom?
day- The first day at your house, because we met at your house, was the first day I met her dad and her son.
That's right, at the same
And her
time.
fucking brother.
And then you tell me a story where you're like all the way almost through
Bro,
Atlanta.
we were through in Atlanta traffic, and Atlanta traffic's the worst. I remember what it was. I was 11 to noonish, and I'm driving this trailer. It was kind of windy, so it was truck swaying, and I remember looking at my boy Parker, and legit, you can look at my face, and I'm just like, I gotta turn around.
Yeah, this is
like-
happening.
And he's like, bro, we can't even get off the highway. How the hell are we going to turn around? I'm like, look, I'm going to find a way. And like, I got stuck, I remember, in between two semi trucks. And I'm like, I missed, there was an exit coming up, but I couldn't go past him and I couldn't slow down. Because I slowed down 1 minute and legit people were honking at me. And I'm just like, well, fuck, we got to go to the next one. And then it never happened. And then, well.
That's the
and now
best
we're
not
here,
turnaround
dude. It
you've ever
was-
done, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So then Aaron does helmets for us for a little bit. Jordan, who you guys will meet at some point, absolutely great guy, was dating my daughter at the time. Jordan ends up, I have the card shop. Jordan ends up having to leave for whatever reason. And kind of the only person I thought of was you. I'd bounced you around a little bit, probably unfairly. I made you move in different rooms.
The only room that I didn't go into was Joe Chero's room.
Yeah. So that was kind of a natural move for me. And it to be fair for both of us, and I think you'll agree, in the beginning it wasn't very smooth. And I think, and this will probably be the first time I've ever said this to you. I don't know what happens when you get live and you just start talking the truth, but I expected you to do exactly what Jordan did. And the reality is your skill set is different. So the tasks that I was assuming that you were going to do in the beginning weren't getting done. And I was like, man, what the fuck? And I needed to really push you past your comfort level to where you started to take on tasks and you started to take on responsibility and just speak to that a little bit. I mean, and you can be fair, whether I was harsh on you or not hard on you, but how was that adjustment? Because that's a big step for you. I'm expecting a lot from you. I'm expecting you to be my partner, and you know how fast I move. Sometimes it's chaotic.
Sometimes it's not. It's definitely not planned at all. Sometimes
Not
it's
at
just
all.
like, how are we getting from here to there, and when we got to do this? But I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I ever told you this, but there was legitimate a point in time I almost applied at the chicken plant because I did not. I mean, it just wasn't going well.
Yeah.
I felt like I was doing good, and it just, we had conversations, and I mean, we talked about it, and, I told you, I was like, I'm not Jordan, and it never really clicked to you at the time, because, it was so fresh.
You know what? It was one of those things, and you, when you work at a corporation, when you work at a Walmart, or when you work somewhere else, there's somebody above you. There's some sort of training. There's somebody to help you. When you're at the top of the food chain and there's nobody to help you, it's one of those things where you really got to self-analyze and just learn on your own. And the thing you taught me most is that you can excel in certain things, but it's my job to put you in those areas where you excel. And I think now you're running breaks for us on the card side, right? I think you're excelling there. You're doing the video editing for this, like I think you excel there. You're doing a lot of the Pokemon stuff, like you excel there. I think the lane that you're in right now is the most comfortable that I've ever seen you in. And I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think definitely we had some rocky road days, right?
Definitely. You ain't lying.
But I think your growth has been exponential. And I think I'm not taking any credit for it, but I think I pushed you to a point where you had to get outside of that comfort zone and you had to really figure out.
No, man, it's just at that time and point, whenever we first started, I was around good people, but they didn't truly understand what you had planned and what I had planned.
Yeah.
They just, oh, you're doing good. That's good.
Yeah.
They weren't really pushing me because they didn't understand this. Like, I mean, most people see what we do and they're like, helmets,
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah.
I mean, I still get that response from my parents all the time.
100%.
And then I show them, stuff I have, how much it's worth, or stuff we've sold, and then they're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, I mean, it's like we talked on Brett on the last episode. I don't think people realize A, that this stuff is attainable, and B, that any household can have it. It's not something that's out of this realm. I don't think the average person realizes it. But no, I mean, I and now you got a baby coming, right? So you and Tam are doing really well.
Bro, it's coming so damn quick.
You've been a stepdad now for a year and a half, right?
No, 2 years, a little over 2 years now, because we moved in.
That's right, November. Yeah.
Lordy, dude.
How has that been, man? Because that's a road I traveled. It's a selfless road. Listen, moms are on my pedestal, dads are on my pedestal, but step parents, bro, you gotta fucking earn it. Man, it doesn't come easy. You have to earn every bit of that.
I mean, before we did this, I'm not gonna lie. And yesterday, I've had some days, where I'm just like, I would never say this, but fuck them kids, bro.
Yeah, man, fuck them kids. I'll say it sometimes.
Like, it is.
There's times where I want to hit my kids
before
with a hammer.
this, it's just like, oh, we gotta talk, and I'm like, I really don't want to. Like, I said what I said. I don't want to go back on it, and it's a tough road.
It is.
It is a tough road. Because,
it makes you be selfless though, because it can't always be about us anymore. And then now you got baby Mav coming in March.
Yeah, and March. I mean, it's March 6th is a due date, so we'll see what happens.
I'm still lobbying for it to be Maverick Joseph, but I don't. We still have time, ladies and gentlemen.
Eventually she'll see this baby girl's growing up quick as hell.
I don't think she's as big as you said she is earlier.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just kidding. No, I mean, look, I'm genuinely happy for you. We could sit down and laugh today. It may not have always been easy, but I think it was fair. And I think it was me growing as a person and growing on the spot, you growing as a person, you taking on being a father, you taking on new roles, you taking on being in a relationship with Tam. Like, there was a lot of things that were happening in your life. And I will say, man, I'm very proud of the young man that you are today. Like, I've met your parents, I've met your sisters. Your mom is hot as fuck. I met her. Like, I'm just kidding, Mr. Herrera, if you see this. She is hot, but I'm just kidding about no, man, I'm very proud of you and who you are. I'd like to ask you a few questions on a personal level. What do you think is something that makes you different from other people when it comes to trying to achieve success?
I mean, so I do have. I mean, and for ladies, you can call it what is it, a RBI or resting bitch face?
I think it's
RBI, whatever. I do come off to be a little bit of that.
I will agree with that.
I mean, I know it. It's just who I am.
Sometimes you crush Letty a little bit, which you guys will get to meet Letty.
But honestly, I'm all jokes. I'm all about laughing. Humor can be a little dark, but I really just go with the flow. I do like to have plans, but honestly, I've learned the hard way. Plans really don't always go the way you want.
I don't think anybody's life has gone the way you plan it.
I mean, whenever growing up, I definitely didn't think I'd be having my first, born child at 31. But I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way right
100%.
now. Not at all.
What is one thing you think that you can improve on within yourself?
Being a better listener first.
Okay.
Sometimes, like I said, I do have, I can look like I'm pissed or annoyed already, but really I'm just listening.
Right.
And then sometimes I very much have a tendency to say something and then listen after.
Yeah.
And and it definitely has its flaws for sure. But I've grown up, I definitely was always kind of taken advantage of, never really heard.
Yeah.
So, after growing up, once moving away from family and moving away from certain friends, it's you and you.
Right,
so
100%.
Sometimes those decisions you just got to live with, and I know I have my back, and not everyone's always had my back. So sometimes it's definitely more of I really need to be a better listener first, and then say what I got to say first. Because I've definitely said some very questionable stuff to some very close people before, and it hasn't gone the best.
I mean, we got to live and we learn. So, while we're being sentimental, I want you to tell me what Tamara means to you.
The world, I mean, we've had this conversation at Culture Collision, the very first Culture Collision. Jacob Casey was there.
Yeah.
And, I remember you asking us, was it your 5-year plan or what do you have always dreamed of? And, I mean, I could dream about having all the nicest things, cars, trucks, money, but I've always wanted to be a family person first.
Yeah.
Always.
I love it, man.
Being a dad, fuck.
All right, we'll get out of the sentiment a little bit. We'll get out of the sentiment. Baby Mav's coming soon.
Yeah.
So give me a few things for me, right? You work with me on a day-to-day basis. I want you to give me something that is absolutely something you wish I could change for the better, and then give me something or something negative about me, something that you don't like as much, and then give me something that you really do like.
So negative, and then something that I would change. I wish. I mean, I love you're the most creative person I've ever met, and
Appreciate that, brother.
I'll give you that. But the creativeness comes with the fucking chaos, and
It definitely is a
if
storm.
honestly, I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn or Brett's horn, but if it wasn't for me and Brett, I don't know where the hell you'd be.
Look,
Or Jordan, even when Jordan was here, I don't know how any of us have honestly done it. We definitely have our days where it's just 1 minute you're here, and then a few hours you're over here and forget about here, and then you're here and then you remember about here, and it's just
yes.
I thought we were. Sometimes like I would need to record you or write shit down.
That's
because,
what we are right now.
Man,
we are.
Because there are days where, I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard the same story 2 or 3 times because you can't remember because you've told us so many times.
I like stories, man.
But I mean, your organizational skills can definitely be better, not just for you, but for really like.
I said one or two things. You don't have to go down the fucking list. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, for sure. I mean, I'm chaotic in those regards. I think every. And I wouldn't say I'm successful, but I think every person that aims to be successul has those type of people around them because everybody can't be a dreamer. Everybody can't be the creative guy.
Definitely not saying chaotic is bad. It's just, we've been doing this long enough. You've been doing this long enough to understand that your chaotic is controlled. It's not.
Sometimes.
I mean, it's gotten better.
Yeah.
It's gotten better
Yes,
as we've gotten the
yes.
store.
I will say,
we do things on our own now a little bit and everything. I wasn't here for. Well, I was here, but I wasn't physically here for that. I've definitely learned a lot more since I've lived here.
For sure.
Working with you away from here is totally different than being here.
Oh, yeah. I'm fun all the time, but sometimes I got to be serious here, and I don't always do it. But so what's something that's really a bright spot for you, for me?
I mean, you're willing to you gave me a chance, and sometimes it has its pros and cons, but you're definitely very understanding. You're very, like, when something comes up, if I'm sick or Tam's sick or we need to do something for Q, with the whole baseball thing, I always need off Wednesdays when practice is there, and you're understanding, that's the one thing that is different between corporate and being a small business is you're easily way more understanding than anybody else can be sometimes.
You got to be. You got to, your family's important to me. I mean, it is about the work, but it's not all about the work. You know what I mean?
The thing that means the most is that you're understanding, but that means you care about me more than just work.
100%. I care about your family. I care about Tam's beautiful eyes and your mom. There's a lot of things I like about you. But no, I appreciate that. I would say for me, I think sometimes you can be harsh on people, not on me, but I think sometimes on Letty and some of the other guys, you're saying the truth, but there's a difference, and I say this to, I don't say this all the time. I've said it before. I could tell Wendy to shut the fuck up, or I could ask her to please be quiet, or I could say, could you give me a couple minutes? There's a ton of different ways to say it, and I think sometimes once you polish that up, your leadership will go to that next level, because you're saying the right things, you're saying it in a very matter-of-fact,
it's
up the
definitely
butthole way.
Where I need to listen first, and then think about what I should say in a nicer way than just saying, yo, you fucked up again. Really? Yeah. What, Monday, another fuck up.
I mean, it's Letty, man. You guys will meet Letty. You'll understand.
Oh, man.
And then I would say, for me, I think your growth has been probably even more than you see. I challenged you a couple times. I've made sure that it's not always easy for you, but I think just like when you go to the gym and you work out, right? You tear that muscle, we eat protein and it heals and it becomes stronger for it. I think sometimes you need a few tears in your ass. You need a few of those things to get us, going in the right direction. I'm proud of who you are. I'm proud of, the journey that I've been able to be on with you. Your family, everything that you have going on, brother. I love it, man. I appreciate you letting me sit down and get this interview in.
Definitely.
You are one of my guys. Yeah, we got a lot more to discuss. We can go way more in depth on some of that stuff. But guys, thank you so much. Episode number 2 brought to you by Creative Brands. We appreciate them, our one and only sponsor. This is the Cruz Report, and we will have episode 3 coming up soon. Thank you, guys.